Power Pro Wrestling. Power Pro Wrestling. Power Pro Wrestling. The Power Hour.
Day of November, and it is cold in Arkansas. Hello again, everybody. It's Randy Hills, and you can expect the unexpected. Hey, and welcome to this program. I want to say hello to Greg, the first person in the room today from Twitch. Hello, Greg. My buddy from across Jonesboro, Tony Bonham, a new grandfather about a month or two ago. He's doing good. And hopefully when this weather warms up, whenever it will, maybe the spring, we can have some more of that great Tony dip and great Tony burgers. Hello, Tony. What is going on? It's cold enough for everybody. Jeff Frog Wheeler says, maybe this show will heat it up. And man, I can tell you, it will heat it up because we have a very, very heated show. Some great stuff from Power Pro Wrestling as we do every Monday, the Power Pro Wrestling Watch Party. From Kentucky, the great state of Kentucky, David Linville is in the house. My buddy Tony is in. So when the spring arrives, we'll have another wild bash, good food, lot of fun at his house. Can't wait for that. Leon Downs is in the house. He's not going to warm up because I think Leon Downs is in Virginia. Am I right for that? And also, let me give a medical. I don't know if I have permission. I think there's HIPAA rules. Betty Butler, one of the great fans and has done some promoting, been around a long time, very good friends with Bill Superstar Dundee. Betty, do you care if I say what's going on with you? Now, Leon is in Virginia, and there was a college shooting there in Virginia. How close was that for you? And Leon asked me for a favor the other day, asked me to call some of my connections, one of my connections, my main connections, but my main connection does not have what he's looking for. And what he is looking for is one of those classic Mid-South Coliseum chairs. Let's see what else is going on. My buddy Jim from Phoenix, Arizona is in the house, and Tony is in St. Louis, and it's cold up there and snow forecasted for tonight. Well, I think it was Saturday morning. There was snow on my windows when I got up. This morning, I had to scrape up ice, and that was aggravating today. But that is not what's going on. As Greg is weather update, and for sure, and Greg is in the house, and Leon says that school shooting was about maybe 2 hours from Richmond, Virginia. Jim's asking if I'm still doing Uber. I am. And another thing is we bring in the co-host of the show in just a second, the producer of this show. Ask if I'm still doing Uber. And yes, I'm still doing Uber. Having a record year of the 3 years that I've done it. It's absolutely fantastic. I'm really blessed and fortunate to do that. Now, a couple of reasons. I have a jacket on and I'm dressed up more than normal. First of all, it's cold. I have the heat on here. I turned it off when I went out for about a couple of hours and then turned it back on when I got the show up and running and got going, and I turned the heat back on. It was cold in this house. I have it up to 80. I'm wearing a jacket for that reason. And also, one of my classmates from the Jonesboro High School class in 1980 passed away last week, and I went to the visitation tonight here in Jonesboro. And it's always sad when you lose a classmate, and it was somebody that certainly was one of the most popular people in the class. And I can't say that I was one of the most popular. I went in the ballpark because all I cared about was Memphis wrestling. Now, Betty Butler says, I don't care if I tell what's going on. Betty Butler, prayers for her, longtime friend with me and with Bill's Superstar Dundee. Betty has had a rough year, all kinds of things going on, had eye surgery. She had a car wreck. Somebody T-boned her and totaled her car, got a new car, and hadn't had a chance to drive it too much because she fell at home because she was worried about her sick cat, and she broke her leg. So she's there in Newport, Arkansas. So I want to say hello to my friend Betty Butler, and I appreciate it. Betty's probably bored. Betty probably struggling to stay up a little bit, and Betty wants some action. And I'll tell you the guy that I want to say hello to. Now, I went about a week. I was kind of thinking that Adam Dunn was kayfabing me like he knows I kayfabe Kevin Lawler. I really thought he was kayfabing me because I went a week. He wouldn't take phone calls. He wasn't as good at sending texts, and he would respond to the text, but he wouldn't reach out for the text. I thought he was mad at me and giving me the Kevin Lawler treatment, but no, I've talked to him several times today. I'm glad he's here in the house. Frank Seaton's in the house, and let's get Adam on here to give you a weather forecast, a weather update for Georgia. He's wearing long sleeve. I don't know if I've ever seen that in my life.
No, I'm not big on wearing long sleeves, but I'm out here in master control, and the temperature out here is controlled separately than the house. So I actually had to turn the heat on in here tonight.
That is cool. That is a heck of a deal. We're getting people in here, and this will be a great, great show. Brooks Dulles is in the house. Betty's in the house. Everybody's in the house. Phoenix is in the house. So apparently you're not mad at me. Was I overreacting a little bit?
Yes, I'm definitely not mad at you at all.
Are you looking forward to this show today?
Oh, yes, very much.
Why don't you tell people after we get all the talk? Certainly, we'll no telling what we come up with. I know that I came up with something last week that got over good. It was very good, and I kind of put you on the spot. However, I think right now, before we get into the show, I think just so we can do the tease and the preview, so people maybe they'll stick around for the wrestling and just sit through the talk if we have any. What are we going to do to follow up last week's show, the January 2nd show last week? That was unbelievable.
Right.
I mean, unbelievable. What are we going to see this week?
Yeah, no, exactly right. It was an unbelievable show last week. So this is going to be episode number 39 of Power Pro Wrestling. This originally aired January 9th, 1999. We're going to start things off with Big Baldo going against Blade Boudreaux. We'll see Jerry Lawler in studio for an interview, and then we'll see Sean Stasiak and Brian Christopher out for an interview. Then the King and the Superstar going against Too Sexy, Brian Christopher and Sean Stasiak in tag team action. Then Stasiak and Lawler brawl out there, and you'll see that Lawler gets locked in a cage on this episode, so you'll want to see that. Stasiak then leaves the studio and heads over to Lawler's house, live on Saturday morning television. Three-way match. Derrick King goes against Kid Wikkid and Lance Jade in three-way action. We'll see Vic Grimes in action as well. Tony Falk will be going against Brandon Baxter. And then Sean Stasiak confronts Stacy at Lawler's house live on TV5. So you'll want to stay tuned and watch all of that coming up. It's just more action every week, it seems like, Randy.
Certainly. I mean, that was the good old days. 1997 started with the great show we showed last week. Well, certainly looks like what you read there is a very entertaining show. Our first lady of the Power Pro
Panetta?
Wrestling watch
Yeah.
along, Panetta, is in the house. Everything's doing good. So, Adam, let's get started with the action, and you push the button, man.
I could, but in the vein of expect the unexpected, and since you thought I was mad at you and everything, and I wasn't. Last week you kind of put me on the spot and asked me kind of my thoughts about some things. How about just super quick before we get into the show? What if I put you on the spot, Mister Expect the Unexpected, and ask you a few questions?
You want to return the favor. You want to
Yes.
get your revenge. You want to put me on the spot
Yeah.
right now. That's what you want to do?
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely.
The answer is no. We're not doing that. Except if one person,
Yeah.
just one, if one person types, there's always ways around stuff. So I'll tell you right now, you count. So if nobody else is, they want to hear me on the spot, all you have to do apparently you do the gag that I wouldn't smarten up to turn the tables on the old RH.
Yeah.
Man, hey, usually I feel old. I didn't feel old today because at the funeral visitation I went to, I saw my 7th grade English teacher. So she's probably 85. And I saw my 8th grade, then soon to be head football coach at Jonesboro High School later on, Steve Uritt. I saw a lot of people older than me, but certainly I think certainly Bobby Bunch is in the house and saying, get your receipt. So that's 3 people. Al Tuttle, my buddy Al Tuttle from the Peachtree State of Georgia, 2 Peachtree State of Georgia guys.
He's on my side, clearly.
You're ganging up on me. Absolutely. Rod W. Robertson had a procedure at the hospital, but obviously I've heard him on Twitter and Facebook, and he is doing good. Everybody doing good. Betty's doing good. Health report for everybody. We appreciate everybody, the fans here, and David having conversation. But if we're going to do it, let's do it. The show is yours. So I don't know. I'm nervous a little bit. I don't know where we're going. I didn't tip you off, and you're not tipping me off. No, go ahead.
So just kind of more or less kind of get some on the spot answers. Nothing really groundbreaking here, but just you kind of asked me, best and worst, favorite, and things like that. And so I think we can kind of ask you maybe some of the same questions. And so it's kind of one of those, along with the good is the bad. So the first thing I'll ask you, and since we're doing Power Pro today, I'll kind of try to make it Power Pro centric, but of course you can talk about any of it. But I guess on Power Pro, what would you say was probably your best promo or your best interview from Power Pro?
I would say that I had a verbal confrontation. That was one of them. Then I did just a complete solo one-shot, a live promo. Both of them involves the same guy, and both of them involves Jim Cornette. Jim Cornette showed up, destroyed Brandon Baxter, sneak attack, and then I came out and we had a confrontation. He's shown that or played that audio on his podcast. It was not rehearsed at all. He just knew the story and I knew the story. I thought that was great. Then about 5 weeks later, I was jumped by his henchmen and I was off of TV for 4 or 5 weeks. I made a return to set up a match at the New Daisy Theater that night. And I don't know if you remember the promo or not. It was, I hit the ring, knocked him with the trash can, and then threw his racket at him and that sort of thing. And I did a fired up interview. And I wish we had that to play. And if I can find it, maybe we'll play it next week or maybe even tomorrow. But that was just very, very, very good. So I think that answers that question.
It does. So the other question, I'll just flip it around. What do you think was either maybe your worst on-air segment or anything maybe just worst confrontation, worst thing that you wish had gone different or just what didn't go as planned or was just maybe really sad or something like that? You know, you talked about the best. What's the worst?
I can tell you, what if I kind of change that around, Adam, and because not every promo was good, and I tend to try to forget the bad. Sometimes you can't, but how about this? And you come back on, instead of me saying the worst, would you take this as an answer if I say that I can't tell you the worst, but I can tell you the one I was the most disappointed in?
Okay, that's fine.
We had built for 6 months a hot program with great promos, interviews from both sides with me and Brandon Baxter. Would you agree with that statement? The promos of the
Yeah.
Baxter RH stuff was good.
Yes, absolutely.
I decided that I needed to go with another direction. I was at the point, I was probably listening to people in my ear from the WWF offices and different people saying too much Randy and Brandon, and we had gone a long way for it. So I booked a final confrontation, last match ever, between Brandon Baxter and Randy Ailes, and we figured an 8-minute segment. I figured it on the TV format, and I had stuff in my mind. He had stuff in his mind, and just not the typical wrestling promo, what wrestling meant to me, what wrestling went to him, and I had high hope for that. Bruce Pritchard was in the studio at that point there, and I would just say I would had high hopes that it was great, that it would be great, and I was very disappointed in it. It just didn't seem to click. Do you remember that promo?
Yeah, a little bit, and yeah, I kind of see, kind of what you're saying. It doesn't. It wasn't just the chemistry or just how it come off just didn't really seem to be when you compared it to how hot things had been previous. It's almost like maybe even though people were telling you to kind of wrap that up, I don't know that the fans were really ready for that to be over yet, honestly.
And I was just thinking it had gone on for months. It was getting heat, but it wasn't just that I wanted to cut it off, because I'm pretty stubborn. I really am. That might have influenced me a little bit, and I was going with Brandon. I thought that he needed to have matches that would be better physically. This is a life lesson, because I've never subscribed to the Dave Meltzer 5-star matches. It's about the story. It's about who's over. It's about the chemistry. It's about the heel with the heat. It's about so much, because 6-star matches, 5-star matches in itself won't draw a dime. I mean, it's just somebody sitting in front of a computer deciding that it was going to be that. But I knew that physical wrestling matches, that Derrick King and Brandon Baxter, in my mind, I'm saying they'll have
should have had better in-ring stuff.
barn burners, which, and all right, it would have. And if it's all about 5-star matches, they had more of a chance than me and Brandon did.
Right.
But it's not about that. It's about the heat. It's about everything else that goes with it. It's about the story. It's about the personal issue, that sort of thing. So I decided to concentrate on the booking, get myself off the TV because I had been on TV from day one all the way through this point, and I really did think and was certainly had the WWE development or the WWF people telling me they didn't like me doing local stuff and wanted it to, except for Lawler, they wanted me to basically make it a developmental show.
Use their
And
guys more. Yeah.
I think I used them great. I really do. They were a big part of the thing. I don't have regret for that, but that segment, I wish we should have quietly went away and not have had that one last match. Anything else for me?
Yeah, just super quick. Favorite Power Pro show?
That is a hard one. That is a hard one.
It is.
And I don't know if I can give that answer. I can give you the favorite USWA show without a second thought.
Oh yeah. Go ahead.
But then let me just work on the Power Pro stuff as we'll get into action in just a minute.
Yeah.
It's a tie. I would say a tie between the debut show that's on Randall Hill's YouTube show. That's up there now. And also, I don't know if it's on the Randall Hill's YouTube show, but it will pretty soon, I would say, the Rumble at the River, the primetime show. And I would imagine, and I more than imagine, because that was your answer from last week. I think most people would say that.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Al agrees. And quickly flip it around, least favorite Power Pro show.
I remember so high coming out of excitement of the first Power Pro show, and then the second Power Pro show I wasn't happy with. That was a show that I had to change, work all night long to change.
Okay. No
Austin Idol's no show and all that stuff. So I was disappointed in that. It actually got a real good number, and I was not crying to Lawler, but I was upset to him, and he said, "You're being too – we got a lot more to go." He said, "Not every show's going to be like that one for sure." Right. I think we both know the era that we call the Don Bass era, even though I loved him, the era after Lawler and the WWF developmental went away for the first time, that era after they left, it took – I think there's about maybe 6-7 weeks that once we get to there, I'm dreading it. I'm really dreading it. I thought a few shows Cornette did wasn't good, but just to specifically name the absolute worst show, maybe the show where everything went to hell. And I've second guessed that the show that we don't talk about that a lot of people blame for the end of Power Pro, which certainly that was not the reason
had
Power
nothing
Pro
to do with the end of Power Pro,
went away. I just more than that second guessed myself. I should have listened to Brandon Baxter and went to a break on that show in November of '99 when he said to go to a break. I should have done that. The Havoc, or that Rick Havoc guy that got hurt on television with Bulldog, that was a bad show. But I just can't rule it out. I mean, rule out, flat out say this is it. With the best, I can say the 4th of July show and show number 1 without a doubt. Yeah. And you know what? There's not one of my least favorite shows that you would think would be.
What's that?
You want to guess?
I know. Just no, but I'll just say Al put in there the Halloween show.
But the last time we had the watch party for that just a month or so ago, I liked it better than I did when I was there.
Remember? Yeah.
So that's always been my least favorite show
Yeah.
And so that might be one of them. But it didn't hurt business. You
Right.
know, it didn't hurt business like some of the things we did. It just wasn't my type of wrestling. The show that I think, Adam, that some people would say would be my least favorite show is a show that might be in the top 10, even though it was emotionally the hardest show that I ever did. The last show,
You're right.
the very last show, I was proud of my promo. I was proud of the fact we set up two matches, and uh,
Brandon.
Stacy and Brandon, and Streak and Lawler. We set up both things in my segment where I said we're going away. I think the people, they had Creighton Armour upstairs at the control room, and he would never do that. They thought I was going to go ballistic on them and cut a promo on them, and I kind of hinted at it, but I was controlled. I said, that look, I got to get some off my shit on my chest because there's a low down, no good, scum of the earth people that's been an issue with me from day one. And I wanted them to think I was fixing to tell them. Then I went into story 100% and went into Brandon and Spellbinder. I just think that could have been horrible. I didn't cry on that interview. It was emotional, but it was good. Then we shot the angle to set up the show. So am I crazy for thinking that? Hello, Tanner.
No,
Everybody's
no,
good.
not at all. Not at all. And I'm thinking I would like to got one more question that
One more.
because I want to try to get to this before we get to the bottom of the hour. And I'll just read this from Brooks real quick. He said, your last show probably was emotional because wrestling hasn't been the same again ever in Memphis. And Brooks, you're exactly right. And that's true. But one thing that I just want to ask, and that I think you can probably do an even better job explaining it, is, we talk about Power Pro being the first developmental territory, but then people will see stuff like, well, The Rock was in USWA, or I remember Mankind, or I remember, some of these other guys that came down and did stuff in USWA, but that was not developmental. Just quickly, if you would explain Power Pro Wrestling being the first WWE developmental territory and what that meant and how it was different than just a working relationship like you had in the past.
That's a good word, a working relationship between the WWF and us. It started way back in the USWA and started with Jerry Jarrett. Jerry Jarrett eventually went to the WWF at the time. And then, of course, Flex Cabana, Dwayne Johnson was here, and a whole lot of guys were here. And that was just a working relationship. And part of that was done because they wanted Lawler on Mondays. And the deal is Lawler being a partner, say, hey, that'll kill Memphis. You got to help us out. And that's what happened there. Then Jim Ross and Jim Cornette got the idea in their head about developmental, because what used to be, can you answer the question, Adam, before Power Pro? Was the feeder system for the WWF or WCW? What was it?
Oh, before Power Pro, I mean, you didn't have, I don't think you didn't have like an OVW or a Florida Championship or anything like that. So before, they were getting stuff from different territories or whatever. I don't think you had a feeder system.
No, I think you had a feeder system, but the feeder system was the territories. They would come in and swipe all the top stars from wherever. Junkyard Dog was from Louisiana. Hulk Hogan from the AWA. So many. You could go on and on and on. So wrestlers were developed through the smaller territories. And then they worked themselves to the bigger territories.
Right.
And then maybe some of them would go to from a smaller territory. I would have called the Tennessee territory a medium-sized territory.
Yeah.
Certainly not one of the smallest, or not one of the biggest. Smaller would have been Ron Fuller's Southeastern that developed out. Portland, a smaller territory, and developed talent. The full-time wrestlers getting experience before they go on national TV. And, of course, national TV happened in the 50s, then the Dumont network and different networks, and then went to syndication. And for years, every promotion had their own syndication and their own markets. And then territories are territories. You stay in your territory. And that changed with Vince McMahon going national. But before that, he went all the way. But before that, I think I'm right on this. The first company to go national and start running outside their territory, even though they didn't go into opposition, but they went on national TV with WTBS at the time, Turner Broadcasting, Ted Turner, WTBS 605 every Saturday night. And that's when the business changed. That's when people started getting national exposure, and that was the beginning of the end. Then the territories. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, and just one thing that I really wanted to point out that was a difference, when you had the guys coming in USWA, they weren't coming in on WWF payroll. They were coming in and getting paid by the promotion just like anybody else that was there.
Right.
When it was Power Pro, these guys were being sent, they were on WWE payroll, getting sent to you to get that experience. So that was different as well. It's not like they just sent them up there, or whatever. Those guys were getting paid off of the house or whatever, just like any other talent was at that time, correct?
Now, when The Rock was here, just paid off the house. Then with Power Pro, then they were on a developmental contract. And, Cornette and Ross, the first was us, and Cornette wanted to get out of that WWE office and go back to Louisville and start developmental there. And they did a really good job. And Greg saying Channel 13 and Channel 5 had a much larger viewing area back in the day. And I don't know if it's comparing that to now. Certainly one example I'll give about now is Channel 5. We actually get Channel 13 on our cable company right now. We get, as the Fox affiliate, we get Channel 13. However, NBC, there's a Jonesboro version of Channel 8 that is NBC. So now if wrestling went back on Channel 5, we wouldn't get it.
Right. You wouldn't get it. You wouldn't get it in Jonesboro because K8, which was the ABC affiliate, has now also with it going digital and having the digital subchannels, they have now also picked up NBC as an affiliate and do local news for it as well. But to go to Greg's point, Channel 5 and back in the day, it was 150-mile radius of Memphis was the broadcast range.
Yes, and it was bigger. It was bigger than the Channel 13. It went to more area, and that kind of popped the territory. Then again, that once you went cable and you went worldwide, then certainly the audience total would be much larger because it went all over the country, all over the world. However, in a specific market anywhere for years and years and years, even in the Power Pro days, there was no market that watched wrestling more, period, than the Memphis market, even with Power Pro. It's just amazing. So is that all you got?
That's it. I think we're about ready to get into the Power Hour.
So tell them again the date and the show episode, and then I'll pitch to it, and you can push the button.
All right. Yeah, this is going to be episode number 39, January 9th, 1999.
Believe it or not, we did this longer. I guess I'm more long-winded. I gave you 20 questions. You did it quicker than I did. the 30. Then I did the 2 or 3 questions.
Yeah,
But here we go with the January the 9th, 1999 version of Power Pro Wrestling. Hit it.
Over the rope, he's on the floor. Streak has staggered himself, though. Streak's down. Here comes Jade back through the rope. Streak. I don't know what happened to him. He just sort of staggered and collapsed there.
Well, you saw that last week here on the Power Hour. We're ready for this week. Hello again, everybody. Corey Macklin at ringside. Hey, Dave Brown has the day off today.
I don't even see Corey. He's hid by that cameraman. One of my favorite of the developmental guys, no doubt about it. He's big, he's bad. His name is Matt Bloom. We called him Baldo. He just looks mean and he looks tough. And he moves great for a big guy. He's currently head trainer of the WWE.
Well, hope to have more information later today on Streak.
I agree with Tanner saying Portland was smaller but had quality talent. Most of the territories had quality talent, especially at the top. Adam, I don't know how competitive this match will be.
Over 400 pounds, boy, he just slams Blade down.
Goes Mick Tierney out.
Here's the guy out here that caused the injury to Streak. Was Streak collapsing out here last week, all that sort of thing. Mick Tierney right here.
Seems as though I have a little free time on my hands.
What?
Beating everyone in Power Pro Wrestling. I thought I'd come out and give you a little hand.
Hey, come on, keep your hands off. You're going to stay over here.
You've got the missing link up there. Look at you. You need a weed eater to cut your hair there, son.
Mick Tierney.
Tanner, the answer is no.
In the ring there.
Join us here.
Can't have more than an ounce of muscle on his body.
Because as far as the rest of the territory,
I can't get a word in edgewise.
somebody'd already got national TV. Somebody had already got Louisville TV. We lost Evansville TV. We lost Lexington TV. And it was certainly from the get-go, just start with the Memphis, and my plan that I did not get in writing was to syndicate the show. That was the plan, not necessarily the thing. The television station Channel 5 was owned by Raycom Media, and I had talked significantly before we went on the air with episode number 1 with Mason Granger, the GM and vice president, operating vice president of syndicating to all the Raycom markets, and that would be huge. That was a major, major deal. However, Mason left, and then it went into the hands of the Raycom Media people, and they didn't have the same vision, and they wanted me to rent the Mid-South Coliseum every Saturday morning, or the Cook Convention Center every Saturday morning, a 5,000 or 10,000 seat building, depending on whether it was a Coliseum or the Cook, and it just wasn't financially feasible.
Day in their lives. The way I train every day.
Andrew talking about the only founder in
You know
Right.
what I'm saying? You can bring the devil himself right here, and I'd get in the ring with him. Well, because I can take it.
Hey, come
you
on.
hear me? I can take it.
Come on,
Can you take
get this stupid guy out of here. Nuts. Hey, come on. Stupid idiot. Take it out of here, Tierney, and don't come back. We're crying out loud.
Very good segment.
Boy, was hot.
Stupid guy. Man, I tell you, hey, here
Putting
today,
furniture
we got
back
the
together.
Young
By the
Guns
way,
battle taking
how
place.
many times have me and you put over
everything in line, but hey, just let me tell you
Corey's
today, we got
ability
triple threat matches,
in Power
battle
Pro?
matches coming up today
Oh, all the
also,
time. I mean, just sit here and just listen and watch.
That's Tierney.
You know who knocked
by
him?
himself, no
Let's take
problem.
all of that stuff out.
You know
We got
who
triple
knocked him
threat
pretty
matches
heavy
coming
today
later
that I
a
heard?
couple of bounty matches as well,
Huh.
and
Big time. Bud Schrappel and Randy Myers of the front row with Bud Rowe.
Today, as a matter of fact, speaking of the
Well,
King, let's see if we can.
I like Bud, but we
Get
can
him
always
out
air
here,
his
the
episode.
King, Jerry Lawler. Hear the music.
This is when you guys started doing something different with the lights.
Today are going to be two
Come out.
sexy Brian Christopher and the blue chipper Sean Stasiak and the king Jerry Lawler making his way around.
Yeah, interesting, Tanner.
I want to talk with Jerry.
Well, you see the quality of the Power Pro show.
That Bill Dundee. Oh, look at this king wired up here today.
Jeff Wheeler says, was Mick crazy back behind the curtain? Absolutely
A
not.
little music going here.
A little Watchman there,
A little Watchman, a little Sony Watchman here, a little Sony Walkman. And let me just
He was told
say this,
by
and
me
I'll
to
mention
do that. He
in
wasn't
just a
told
second, but I wanted
verbiage,
to,
but he told by
I
me.
want to get one
Kind of
thing out
messed
the
with
way
Corey a
real quick.
little bit.
Ordinarily when I
And
come
he
out
had
here, I am accompanied by
been
Stacey.
going
I
crazy
think
for
everybody,
several
most
weeks.
people
Mick
saw
did
and
a
realized
great
what
job
happened
at
last
him.
week, the little incident with Sean Stasiak.
Oh yeah, we
And,
talked about that before. Certainly had the look, had the ability in the ring.
I mean,
should have
I've
gone
had
much further than he did.
I've had all kind of altercations with wrestlers down through the years. That's no problem. I know that's going to happen.
Al
as long as
likes
it's
the
between
line
me and
from
him.
Corey
But
calling Mick
just
a
like Dave
stupid
said
idiot.
last week. I mean,
See,
when
that was
Sean
great about
Stasiak takes the
Corey,
problems
'cause you
that
can
he's
see
got with me
Corey
and tries to
having that
transfer them to somebody
personality
else like
calling
Stacey, then we got a big problem. So
whoever
what I
a
told her
stupid
is
idiot.
Until I finish this whole situation with Sean Stasiak, I think the best thing for her to do is just stay at home until I can clear things up with him.
I agree.
So that's what's going to happen. And you know what? One of the things that's going to happen here today, and the way I'm going to be able to clear this situation up with Sean Stasiak is you got to get it one-on-one. I got to get it between he and I. And he is always surrounded by this bunch of idiots, and mainly Brian Christopher. And so what's going to happen today is I've asked for a little tag team match. Brian Christopher and Sean Stasiak against me and Bill Dundee. And what I'm going to do here is we're going to get rid of Brian Christopher and just leave it down to me and Stasiak. So that's what's going to happen here today. Now, one other thing I wanted to mention real quick. I don't know. Hopefully everybody did, but I had a real great Christmas. And do you ever have one of those situations where you open up a present and it's something great, something really neat, and then all of a sudden you open up another present and it's the same thing that somebody else got you?
I've had that happen.
Well, that happened to me a couple of times this year. As a matter of fact,
That's good, huh?
Yeah, well, it was great. It was really good. As a matter of fact, I got 3 Sony Walkmans to play my own personal CD on, you know, and I got 2 Sony Watchmans. So what I did was, instead of going back and trying to exchange anything, I brought a Sony Watchman and a Sony Walkman here today, and before the show is over, I tell you what, it's only fair. We'll give away either the TV or the Walkman to somebody here in the studio audience, and you people at home, stay by your phone. We're going to let somebody call in and win one of the other ones, okay? So the TV is going to go.
Great.
What, TV, the audience, and the Walkman at home? That's the way we'll do it. So we'll give this stuff away before the show's over today.
TV and the Watchmen to be given away. So Christmas in January.
You must be having a good Christmas. You must be living right because you asked, and here I am again. 2 weeks ago, you're out here wanting to fight me and insult me and all them other things, and you call on the telephone, and what am I? Here I am. So
You're here. Okay.
here we are.
I got it.
But Corey, this is for you. We have another competition going, Kingfish, and the winner's in there, and I'll tell you about it after. Are we going to the ring now, or what we doing?
Yeah, I wanted to ask you about that wrestler of the decade. I wasn't even asked about that, you know.
Your name wasn't on the list.
Wasn't even a nominee, let alone to be asked about it. Take a break. We've got more coming up. On the Power Hour, we're going to see the King and the Superstar. They're going to be in action when we come back.
Wrestling comes to Beale Street and a historic New Daisy Theater. Revenge is sweet when the King Jerry Lawler promises ultimate revenge when he faces the blue chipper Sean Stasiak. The very first Power Pro heavyweight champion will be determined when 12 top superstars battle in a huge one-night-only tournament. There's titles at stake, money on the line, scores to be settled, and history to be made. Revenge is sweet. Friday, January 29th at the New Daisy Theater.
Revenge is sweet. Coming up at the New Daisy Theater, and coming up here today, we've got tag team action on the Power Hour. Hear the music and making their way to the ring area for our next bout here today. The team of Two Sexy, Brian Christopher and the Blue Chipper, Sean Stasiak. They're coming in and got the handful today with Jerry the King Lawler and Bill Superstar Dundee.
Hold on, Corey. Hold on.
We can get over it. All the things.
Sean.
You reckon both of these guys look like stars, Adam?
Such a
Oh, absolutely.
That he was going to give some presents away to these inbreds out here.
That's right. That's a bunch of crud, man, because when we went there for Christmas, we gave them the present of their lives. And all they
Al
did was turn
says
us down
kids
and
today have
disrespect
no
us.
idea what a Walkman is. They don't make them anymore, do they, Adam?
No,
As far as I'm
not
concerned,
anymore.
none of these fans
I'm doing good,
deserve these
Richard.
presents. And those idiots at home, all they deserve is their welfare check sitting in their trailers. So as far as
Yeah,
I'm
Bill
concerned,
had to wrestle, so he's not wearing a
what is
suit.
rightfully ours are these presents right here, Brian.
Hey, that is a great idea, Sean. They don't deserve these presents. What they deserve is a bath. That's all they need. They don't need this TV. They don't need this CD player. So you know what, Sean?
Now,
I
is
think
Tanner's
we ought to take
response about Corey, I don't get his style, but I like it too. It's so unique and entertaining. Is he talking about Corey or Brian?
Corey.
But you know what, Sean?
Come on, put the stuff down.
Uh-oh.
Get your hands off me.
I wonder what's about to happen to these things now that they got them.
I've got a big screen at home. I don't need something like this.
You don't need that, do you?
You know what I think of this? This is what I think of all you guys, and especially him.
And I don't need this CD player. I best get that bogus Alabama CD in it.
That's a heat thing. Lawler, as the babyface, so they give presents to the audience. They were destroyed by the heels, and that kick starts the match. That's very smart, and that's all Raw.
Well, you know, they did that, and then everything was explained so casually. I'm having trouble with Stasiak. You know, you saw everything that went on with Stacy, so I left her at home. You know, Bill and I had some words the other day, but, you know, it's Christmas time. I called Bill, my old buddy. Here he is, here to help.
And it's a kick-ass six-man tag match, or four-man tag match, coming up, a three-way triple champs match. Because I've noticed Lance Jade, Bill Wikkid, is in the house watching, and we will see a triple threat match with Derrick versus Kid Wikkid versus Lance Jade. And I believe that it was last week we saw Baldo become the Young Guns champion by defeating Lance Jade after a very good run as Young Guns champion. Am I right on that?
Yes. Yeah. Lance had a hell of a good run as the Young Guns champion, and yeah, didn't lose it until finally he went up against the big ball.
Get ready, Power Pro Wrestling's coming to town tonight.
Tanner's asking about what kind of TV that was, and I really can't answer. Pretty much the kind of TV everybody had, wouldn't you say, Adam?
Yeah, it was one of those like boombox TV combination portable things.
We're going to see one in which Vicious Big Grimes will be going against the Music Man, Billy Joe Travis.
This is a main event quality match on Power Pro Wrestling. Lawler Dundee against Stasiak and Christopher. We also had Baldo against Blade. We had Nick Tierney involved in that. Lawler did a great interview. Then we have the three-way with Derrick, Kid Wikkid, and Lance Jade. We have Vic Grimes in action, Tony Falk and Brandon Baxter in action, and a remote angle that we did shoot. So a very, very jam-packed as they ram them together, and here comes help as Big Grimes from the Syndicate hits the ring. This is ridiculous. Eddie, get some help out there. See what I did there, Adam? I stole the line from Corey, and I stole the line from Lance Russell. Get some help out here, Eddie.
Referee calls for the foul. It's going to be a disqualification on Christopher and Stasiak, as it's 4 against 2 in there now.
Randy Mayer, not Randy Myers, Randy Mayer says this is one of his favorite Power Pro shows. And as you talk about the eras of Power Pro, the one we just got done with that we would say ended at the end of 98. 99 started out like a house of fire.
It sure did, and it sure did. And to Panetta's point, usually Panetta, most people would have just rather been hit by Dundee than take a hold.
This is bad. Come on, we got to get. There's a cage.
That's true.
They got a cage
Now,
up there.
here's the angle. Here's the
I can't
angle.
believe it. This has got to be a setup. Christopher and Stasiak both
Of
take
course, I
on
love Brian and
right
Scott
outside
Taylor
of
as
the
a tag
studio,
team.
and
Could you
they
imagine
got,
Brian
the
and Sean as a
rocking the
WWF
cage
tag
out there.
team?
Oh,
Never put
absolutely.
nothing past these guys. I can't
Lawler
believe it.
locking is
What
the cage, and you know I've been watching this and not actually listening to everything. Great facial oppression, great way to go to a break. But where's the logic issue there?
Well, there's the king over in the cage there.
What's wrong with this
Lawler
scene?
got him locked up. And Christopher and Stasiak out there.
I guess why
I'm-
the hell is there a cage in the back?
For
Yes.
these guys to have the cage right outside our studio. They've got Lawler locked out in the cage.
Come on.
And Christopher and Stasiak.
I'm surprised I didn't have an explanation. I usually hate stuff like that.
Absolutely
Maybe they'll say something about it because
I can't believe it.
we had Corey locked in the cage not too long ago.
That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous, isn't it? That's not ridiculous. That's exactly what he deserves.
Now he's mocking Corey, and that is good.
Like I told you just a few minutes ago, if he's in that cage, didn't he say earlier that Stacy was home alone?
Yeah, he did, but let me tell you right now, don't get any thoughts in your head and be doing the crazy.
Too late, Corey Macklin. We've had thoughts all day long.
Why are you doing all that?
We had that planned. So you know what? What are you going to do, Sean?
I think I need to go pay her a little visit.
That sounds like a great
Brian says
idea.
that they had it planned.
Yeah, right. Now I
So
see
that
exactly what
is a
happened. Got Jerry locked
little
in the
not
cage,
real
and
direct,
Stasiak
but maybe
decides
good
to-
enough.
Camera on Lawler's face. We want to see the expression when Sean shows up at his house and Stacy is elated.
What is that? Maybe the third appearance of the cage
No
on
business doing
television?
that kind of stuff.
I was in it once.
Christopher and Stasiak have,
See,
set
look,
this
now
thing up.
they've
Well, they got
grabbed
Jerry Lawler
a
locked
camera
in the
guy
cage, and
who's just
Stasiak-
got a, you know,
You know what he's doing.
if you look,
I'm
the
trying
camera's
to
not even hooked
exactly-
up to anything, but they've grabbed this camera guy, set up
Lawler,
him
he's headed over to
leaving,
his house where Stacy is.
and having the camera guy follow Sean
He's
over
demanding
to
that, one of our
Lawler's
cameramen
house. So
follow
even
him
that
out
little,
to,
for me as a production person, I love that little
I can't
detail
believe it.
there.
Boy, oh boy. Lawler locked in the cage. We've got to get somebody that can. Come on, I don't know.
I love Lawler yelling like, "Come on, who's got the key?"
We'll try to get something. We've got to get Jerry some help. Either we got to get Jerry some help.
Common
Mr.
sense
Coffey.
thing, you know,
We've got to
bolt
get
cutters,
someone
come
over.
on,
Make sure
somebody.
Stacy's not there by herself. Mr. Coffey,
Man,
please,
what a
if you let
power
the girls
hour.
back in the back. Take a look
No
at let's
doubt
get on
about
tour. First of all, let's start off with our TV tickets. Great crowd here today for the Power Hour. And hey, you can be here with us also. The tickets are absolutely free. Free studio tickets.
The
Just
story
right to
will
TV
play
Power
out,
Pro
believe
Wrestling.
me.
1960 Union
Greg.
Avenue, Memphis, Tennessee 38104. And please include that self-addressed stamped envelope. Love to have you down here for the Power Hour. Hey, tonight, Crenshaw, Mississippi. Big action tonight in Crenshaw. Want to talk with a young man that's going to tell us more about the action coming up tonight down in Crenshaw, Mississippi. Mark Massey, he's here with us. Hello, Mark. Welcome to Power Pro.
Hey, Corey, glad to be here.
Good to have you. Big night down tonight in Crenshaw.
Yeah, 10-year anniversary for the Power Pro Wrestling to come through Crenshaw. We're looking for a big show tonight.
7:30 bell time now.
Right, save yourself some money.
He didn't just-
Doors open at 3 to 5. And, you
What
can
the
save
hell
some money
is
the
he
tickets,
on?
and then
How much can you save for?
Probably $2. I think
Great.
that's right.
$2
at the, yeah,
That's a
$2.
deal.
Yeah, for a couple of hours there before the and the
Yeah, so-
doors will be open at 6.
So from 3 to 5, you can save $2 a ticket. Right. What a deal,
Right,
man.
and the 10-year anniversary, and Mayor Oscar Baldo is sending out something to Randy Hale, daring him to come down to Crenshaw tonight. Hey, that's his town, so I'm looking forward to the big
Well,
show.
tell the mayor I said hello. Thanks, Mark. See you down there tonight.
Maybe
Crenshaw,
10-year
Mississippi.
anniversary of
7:30
wrestling in
bell time.
Crenshaw,
Big
but I don't
lineup. Take a
know
look
about
ahead of
Power.
that action in Crenshaw tonight. There it is. 12-man
No, I
elimination.
think
Sean
he's talking
Stasiak.
out the side of his
Randy
ass.
Hales has been dared to be there. Well, he's scheduled to be there tonight in Crenshaw. The
So was the
Syndicate
wrestling
there.
at
The
Scooter
Young
Brown
Guns, Brandon
Blues Club?
Baxter, Street. Bill Superstar
It was
Dundee is all at
originally
Scooter Brown's
the
right
first
there in
Power Pro
Crenshaw.
show
7:30 bell time tonight.
at
Then,
in
Power Pro
Crenshaw
Wrestling
was
takes
the
off
same
and heads
building
to
the
Brooklyn,
old
Arkansas.
should
Brooklyn
have been
High School
condemned
King, the
high school
Superstar,
gym.
all in Brooklyn. And
Now,
tickets
this-
on sale at Front Page
this,
Cafe. Elders Grocery there in
Coming
Brooklyn.
back, I have no
All
memory of
seniors,
that Scooter Browns
there
at all.
Brooklyn
I
High
do
School
have
action
memory
coming up
Brooklyn, Arkansas. We had a camera there and recorded it. And also, I have no memories of us going to Swiftton, Arkansas, small town near Jonesboro. No memories there. So that's two towns near Jonesboro. Then, of course, the Memphis show at the New Daisy Theater on Bill Street.
New Daisy Theater. Special surprises on hand. Pick up those advanced tickets.
Jeff
and be
said
there
maybe he was including the USWA years. That would, like I said, maybe doing 10 years of wrestling in Crenshaw might make sense.
Jerry Lawler is there.
I just thought he said Power Pro 10 years.
He did. He did say 10-year anniversary of Power Pro Wrestling. I just think he
Later we'll
misspoke.
have more about it as the weeks to come. But I'm telling you, a huge
Al
lineup
wants to know if
in
that Mayor of
Jonesboro,
Crenshaw
Arkansas.
ever
It's gonna be Friday. It's
confronted
gonna be
you or
Saturday
not.
night, rather. February 13th. Saturday.
He's just a real
February
good
13th.
dude.
Bell Community Center, 8
I
o'clock bell time.
Was that Oscar Barlow guy?
Yeah, he wanted to be in the wrestling business so bad, and he just promoted casinos and different things. But no, I don't remember him ever confronting me at all. I don't. But we could have done something just in the house. Could have done something. Now, I believe WWF gave us like $10,000 to promote
in the Pyramid Arena.
for about 4 straight weeks, 6 straight weeks, whatever it was, that In Your House. So that's why I went to In Your House. And by the way, I had a Uber ride this morning, and the lady was talking, and she got to talking about the pyramid and wrestling. Had no idea I was the wrestling guy. And she was talking about going to the pyramid and mentioned buying tickets and taking her husband to In Your House at the pyramid in Memphis. Small world.
I was there too.
Yeah, I was
Good
there.
show.
This should be a hell of a match. The Young Guns division. Kid Wikkid, Derrick King, Lance Jade. Now at this point,
Big studio crowd.
Yeah, good studio crowd. Kid Wikkid, the first Power Pro champion, many times Power Pro Young Guns champion. Let me clarify. Had Derrick ever held that championship? I do not remember. Up to this point.
Not up to this point, I don't believe, no. I know if I've said it once, I've said it 100 times, but Aubrey is my favorite referee.
Wanted to be determined the #1 contender. Lance Jade, Kid Wikkid.
I would not say he's my favorite Power Pro referee. I would say Jerry Calhoun is my favorite referee.
Yeah, just from that standpoint, yes.
Politically correct. No longer will I refer to these people as bitches.
Did more house show matches. Just had a longer career. And part of some of the most iconic memories of Memphis wrestling. No doubt about that. But Aubrey, man, I can't talk highly of him. Did absolutely fantastic.
I tell you, you're tough and you're rugged and all that stuff.
Tanner is saying he can't hear something well. What can he hear, Adam?
He said that he could hear what music Derrick came out. You know, Derrick being Mr. Personalities. I'm trying to see what it almost looks like Rock and Roll Express tights or something. I'm not sure whose tights he's wearing this
It's
week.
not all the time how big you are. It's how you can maneuver around that ring, and you got some guys in there. That
Kid Wicked's in Hawaii. He's not watching. Derrick King's not watching. But Lance Jade was here earlier.
Boy, flip right over
I wonder if he's watching now as he knocks Kid Wikkid over the top rope. This is just a hell of a match. Al Tuttle says HBK music. The lights go up.
That was pretty normal for him to use HBK. Oh, there's Venom.
Who is that? What is that?
Venom shows up. Shoots that miss right in the eyes of Lance Jade. Yeah, we've been seeing
Baldo
this
on
for the last
commentary?
few weeks.
Yeah.
1, 2, 3.
Lance Jade's still in the house, and he got cheated. That dadgum Venom is Paul Diamond. Blew some mist in his eye. You got cheated, Bill. Lance. So he's the first elimination. The three-way dance contender match. Baldo at ringside.
all tough. And to prove they're tough, they've held this Young Gun Championship. So there's certainly no weenies in there, let me tell you that. Good move there from Derrick.
I tell you,
I lights out again. And,
we pay the electric bill.
Here comes Venom.
Lance is saying that was a recurring theme, him getting cheated, Randy.
Well, I tell you,
I'm ignoring that.
I don't know what
He was a whiny son of a gun, still is.
Ooh, the Wikkid trip from Kid Wikkid to.
So I guess it's me versus Wikkid.
Well, Kid Wikkid is the #1 contender for the Young Guns title.
Now we're setting up this match for next week.
Baldo, the Young Guns champion, threatening Kid Wikkid.
He was just coming from behind, backstage behind the curtain.
From Venom, who just shows up out of nowhere. We've got to check on the King and see if we can get some help for Derrick. We've got more coming up. Stay with us. Power Hour. We'll be right back. Hey, there's Buddy Wayne out trying to get
This is classic.
trying to get Lawler out of the cage over there. Bruno's out with him. I understand that Stasiak is taking our cameraman David Burton is taking David along with him now. Come on. Can we get? Still trying to get Jerry out of the cage. Can we get? There's Stasiak in the car. David's got the camera. Stasiak in the car. Yeah, he's headed over to Lawler's house. Boy,
I've been thinking to myself, what is it about Stacy that makes her so attractive? Is it those gorgeous eyes of hers? Maybe it's that pretty little smile, you know, those two little cute little dimples she has when she smiles? No, that's not it. She does have a gorgeous body. No, that's not it either. I think I know what it is.
You know, a couple of different times, WWF pulled my deal on me, but as far as the normal deal, no, they never said no.
How attractive would she
Al
be
never said no.
without that long, blonde hair? I think I want to find out.
Come on, buddy, you got to get this damn thing open.
I can't believe it.
Come on.
Lawler's trying to get out of that cage. Buddy Wayne's working legs. He's got a hammer over there. I'm not sure that's going to help. We've got to get, why don't we just try calling a locksmith or something, buddy, and try to get some help for him over there.
I love it.
These guys are
Yeah, exactly. I love when they have the more realistic answers and thoughts, you know.
These guys were stupid this low to pull this stuff. We've got action in the ring. Ready for one of our bounty matches coming up here today on the Powwow. And here comes the founder, the owner, the president of Power Pro Wrestling, Mr. Randy Hales. And Hales leading the way with Tony Falk, Vicious Fit Grind.
First of all, I told Stacy long ago she had no business around here, and I think she's fixing to pay the price. I want to say a few things I've been saying for 6 months. Brandon Baxter, I hate your stinking guts. $5,000 to you today. Today, if you eliminate him in the ring, Tony Falk, I'm tired of him.
It's all right. I can do it today.
I want you to get in the ring right now, Vic. Go to the ring right now. Because Billy Travis, I want you to destroy him. Billy Travis came up with a sob story last week, said that I got rid of him because he hurt himself. The truth of the matter is, and let's get him out of here. The truth of the matter is, Billy Travis, his whole life, has been an idiot. He's never done anything in his life that he hadn't screwed up. He screwed up his personal life time after time. Now we all have. You know I have. You know the difference? I did it once, and I got my life straight, right? Well, he hadn't at all, period. He's still a complete idiot and a complete goof. He screws up his personal life and his business life. He doesn't go to the gym. He doesn't do nothing. That's why I got rid of Billy Travis. He's done Now, I was mad at Billy when I did that promo at him. He made a business mistake by knocking the guitar over my head. He's going to pay.
Clearly.
Vic's going to earn some money. Let's get this.
Yeah, well, what about all the stuff you did to him, Randy? He said that you told him and that you promised him that you'd pay his doctor bill and all that stuff. And when the bill came in, you said, hey, I'm not going to pay that Billy bill. How about you just leaving a guy like that hanging just because he got hurt? I can't believe you stooped that low, Randy. Here comes the music
Al saying this is the word of the day, idiot.
Get away from me. Randy hiding behind me. If you're going to stay out here, don't duck behind me, please.
Bring Willie against me. I'm going to show you how much of a man I am.
Boy, you guys, I tell you. Should have ate my Wheaties this morning because this has been some sort of day-to-day on the Power Hour. Dave Brown out. Hey, I'll do all I can to get Dave back here next week with all of this stuff going on.
I'm certainly not Dave Brown or Corey Macklin, but I have experience here doing commentary.
So what are you saying? You're going to sit here with me?
Yes, let me say this.
Thank you,
Billy
Andrew.
Travis, you heard my
Saying
interview.
that was a good heel.
Yeah, I heard it.
Billy Travis was a great thing. I thought this was a no-show Billy Travis week, so apparently after the switch to babyface, so I probably was just working. I probably wasn't mad at it. I guess it was the next week he didn't show up.
He's straightened it out. He's got himself going, and he's back in the ring and ready to go.
He thinks I should treat him like a superstar. Every time I had him on the main event, lost money. I tell you who the stars around here.
Who are?
Me and the Syndicate.
Yeah, well.
That's exactly right.
Vicious Big Grimes, he's one of the Syndicate, and if that sort of thing makes you guys stars, then I don't want to be in that role. He's
Looks like we came out of it there, Randy. Are you there with us? I'm not sure what happened.
Yeah, it said we lost the connection. So why don't you?
Do we try to go back into it?
Yeah, we do.
Okay.
We got it here. 1, 2, 3. Got it. We got it.
Can you see or can you count or what? That was only a 2 count, Randy, for crying out loud.
He had him there.
I walked into the kitchen to grab me something to drink, and I noticed we had. It said we had connection. It flashed up we had connection problems. Did you not see that warning?
I did not, but the video did freeze.
This idiot over here with that Billy Travis sign probably works for you.
Boy. Look at Vicious Big Grimes. Drops the leg down on Billy Joe. Referee Arby Wayne now to check on Travis.
Thanks everyone for sticking with us during that little technical issue there.
Well, at least it wasn't a long technical issue.
Right.
It must have happened when I walked away.
Off the ropes, but missed this with the elbow. Travis moves. He's on his feet. And look out. Here comes Billy Joe.
By talking about Lawler and Dundee, I think Billy Travis had a hell of an uppercut.
Billy was a great wrestler. Absolutely. No doubt about it.
How about that, huh? Nothing from Randy Hales all of a sudden. His lips are sealed. Billy Joe. Oh, God. They reversal right in.
That was a good one in the Aubrey there.
Aubrey's out. Oh, Randy Hales takes off, heads for the ring. Here comes Brandon. Brandon Baxter. He stops Randy Hales. Down on the floor. Oh, look out. Travis rolls up Grimes. He's got him. 1 count. 2. Yeah. That's all she wrote. Billy Joe Travis gets the win over Big Grimes. And Brandon Baxter, he's out on the floor. Look out, Brandon. Look out. Baxter over working on Hell. And Big Grimes goes over, so we got them all out on the floor. Brandon Baxter.
I like this, and you do too, Adam. Look how close to the people we are.
Oh, yeah.
So Baxter comes out. He stopped Randy Hales as Randy was headed for the ring to interfere in that one. And Brandon has to equal things up in that one. Good timing from Brandon Baxter to show up and to keep Randy Hales from interfering in that thing. Boy, I know Travis is glad to see you, Randy.
You know, Corey, there's nothing like coming out here, the people cheering and yelling your name.
real quick, I touched on it last week. I want to touch on it again. I was sick and tired of having to fight Randy Hales and to have to fight Randy Hales' whole crew. I mean, it's obvious I'm not a one-man army. So for that, I'm happy that Billy Joe Travis is here. He's done some bad things to me in the past. I've done some things to him. But we're going to kind of set that aside. We're not friends by any means. I'm not going to go hang out with Billy, but we have a common cause, and we're going to get that done.
Well, you know what?
One more thing, real quick. I know that Randy Hales has signed a match, me against Tony Falk, the bounty match today.
That's coming up.
Randy wants Tony Falk to take me out. Well, Tony Falk, that's fine. I'm not 260 pounds. I'm not a wrestler. But you expected me, Randy Hales, to tuck my tail between my legs and run out of this building, and I'm not going to do that. If you want a match, it's a match you got.
So we're going to see the bounty match coming up later on.
Hold on. Randy Hale said Billy Joe don't go to the gym. Well, maybe that's right. I like to go to the bars. I like to have a 12-ounce every now and then. And most of these people do. Now, let me tell you something, Slip. I'm going to get you. And I might make 12-ounce can with me next time.
Billy Joe Travis, Brandon Baxter. And coming up, we're going to have that bounty match. And the King still locked up in the cage. We got to see, be sure to get some help for Stacey over there.
Hello, Ahmed.
Headed in that direction.
Buddy Ahmed is in the house.
Starving artist.
As Al says, Billy looking a little lot like Cody Rhodes.
Corey, everybody be quiet. Switch to the camera. I just heard from Stasiak. He is pulling up to Lawler's house right now. Switch to that camera.
Come on, Justin, get a shot. There's cameraman David is with him. Stasiak walking up. Yeah, he's going.
Stacey, open up. Let me in. Unlock this door. I need to talk to you. Shut up, you stupid nut. God, I hate that dog. Open up.
Poor Pumpkin.
Hey, I just want to talk. Let me in. Look, I feel real bad about what happened last
I like
week.
how they even added in some static every now and then to make it look like a live shot.
Very good. Very well done.
Let me in. Hey, this is pretty nice. Is this your car?
Yeah, it's my car.
Ah, it's real nice. When did you get it?
I can tell a little bit of backstory on this next
Oh,
little
you got
part
it for
about to
Christmas. Is
happen.
that right? Well, have you ever seen what a pair of car
Okay.
keys will do to a new paint job? I'm going to do it. Then open that door.
I'm not going to do it.
Then I'm going to scratch this baby right now.
All right. Just don't touch my car.
That's more like it. Be a little bit reasonable about this whole matter. Now, come here.
No. Let go of me. Let go of me. Let go.
That is the best Memphis wrestling television I've ever seen in my life. Yeah, Tanner, he's in his trunks because remember he just left the studio to go over there. Lawler just lives down the road.
Yeah, you better make sure Stasiak didn't get caught over that fence trying to get out of there.
Who called the cops? I want to know right now.
That's Buddy Wayne and Mr. Coffey still trying to get.
He ain't never going to get out of the cage. There's no way he's getting out of that steel.
You better try to find your buddy and see where he is. He's probably trucking down Walnut Grove right now.
You don't worry. He's not leaving unless he's got Stacey with him. He ain't going to leave unless Stacey leaves with him.
Well, what is he
I want
gonna do?
Lawler to see that. That's what I want Lawler to see.
He'll find himself in jail is what he'll find. I guarantee you that. That's what yo, you watch yourself. Here comes the key. Lawler comes out, and boy, he's putting it to Christopher. Yeah, Jerry, they got some help for Stacey over there. I don't know what you're doing. These guys are nuts.
Let me tell you something. You're right. Sean Stasiak, Corey Macklin just said you're nuts. Well, now you've made me nuts. And I promise you, Sean Stasiak, you're going to pay, brother. You're going to pay with your damn life.
The King, Jerry Lawler.
Now, the highlight of that was the dog Pumpkin chasing Stasiak. That was obviously not laid out, right?
Right.
Just happened.
I mean, could you have a more action-packed hour of television?
already. And it's not over yet. Bounty match coming up. Sean Stasiak, boy, I'd like to see what sort of shape Stasiak's in right now. He hit that fence running. Jumped over the fence. Who knows what's over on the other side over there is the question. Police right in time. Thanks to the Memphis Police Department for the help over there to helping safety. Here comes Tony Falk. Tony up on the ring apron. Boy, I feel much better about that situation now that Stacy's okay, knowing that she was over at...
I would say there is a reason that you did not see a cop get out of the cop car.
Brandon steps in. Referee gives us the signal, calls for the bell. Here we go. Brandon Baxter, young man that came in. I remember when Brandon first came to Memphis.
Do you agree with Panetta's? The dog is the MVP of the show.
No, absolutely. Even down to even before it happened, no one knowing it was going to happen. Stasiak going, God, I hate that dog.
I can take care of Tony Falk. Baxter, a young man that grew up in Dallas, watching the Freebird, watching the Bun Airs, all that sort of thing, and a big wrestling fan, and now living the dream of his life. Here in Power Pro. Look at this. Falk running after Brandon Baxter. Baxter's
I love that, like, that plodding, stalking walk of Tony, almost like a old school, like cartoon villain or something.
Simple finish. Billy came out with the guitar, busted him over. Tony took the bump outside. Brandon gets the upside set win without obviously pinning Tony Falk.
Baxter with a little help from Billy Joe Travis. Oh, look out, guys. Here comes Baldo and big crowds in. Randy Hells comes in. He's leading this syndicate along. Baldo tosses Baxter out on the floor. Man, oh man. It doesn't stop thanks to Randy Hells. He's leading all this stuff. There goes Travis over in the corner. Boy, right into that corner over there. Let's try to get somebody. Brandon's out on the floor. I tell you what we're going to do. Let's take a break right now. Let's do it. James, and we'll roll the music. Take a break. Let's try to get some help for these guys. Come on. We'll be back with more on Power Pro Wrestling. Stay with us. Wow.
Hey, that's a Randy Hills.
Yeah, Randy with the guitar shot.
How about that? I don't remember that. Man, this show's been something, absolutely something. All kinds of stuff.
Are you saying that you took Billy Travis's finisher and then he never showed up again? Is that what happened?
Pretty much.
Well, we're back on Power Pro Wrestling.
Tanner said we're frozen for a minute. I hope we're unfrozen. I didn't notice it at all.
It's been wild all day today on Power Pro Wrestling. Hadn't had an opportunity to tell you about New Daisy. We are very excited about New Daisy Theater on Bill Street Friday, January 29th. We're going to have more on the action and the entire lineup, the cards.
A lot of response from our audience today.
After week. Next week we'll have more information on that. Crenshaw, Mississippi is tonight. Tonight in Crenshaw, 7:30 bell time down there. Got some big names down in Crenshaw, all of the Power Pro superstars. Tonight down in Crenshaw, Mississippi. Wild day today with Stasiak and Brian Christopher first coming out, tearing up the gifts, just pounding the stuff down on the concrete floor that Lawler was going to give away to the fans here and you fans at home. Come in and do that sort of thing.
Obviously, Corey stretching and doing a recap and doing a great job.
This whole crazy thing. Takes out over to Lawler's house. It's just unbelievable. Never know what these guys are going to pull and which way they're going to go. Here comes Bill Superstar Dundee. Got Samantha. Along with, I was wondering about this. I was going to try to get to this also, Bill. Got the envelope.
You got to open it. I don't want them people to think this is bogus. You open that. Because they'll think that this is all bogus, and it ain't. Come on.
Okay. First of all, let me ask you this, Bill. What are we doing? Who's the numbers? Are nominees involved in this?
Oh, yeah. Sable was in it, and Jacqueline was in it, and Stacey was in it, and everybody to wrestling was in it.
Was in it for what? Most beautiful. Most beautiful. And the winner is Miss Samantha. Samantha gets the most beautiful.
Rest in peace, Corey Mack.
Everybody that voted for me, and thank you for this wonderful award.
Look, first of all, let me say this. Come on, Bill. I mean, Samantha's great. great. I love her.
I promise you, she got the
nice
most
looking.
votes. The competition that was held, she got the
This
most
looks
votes.
like the same trophy you had last
No,
week,
it ain't nothing. No, it ain't. I wouldn't do that, Corey. But I'm going to tell y'all something. You in Crenshaw tonight?
No, well, you're down there.
Yeah, I'm going to be in Crenshaw, so we're looking for all you nice folks. We're going to have this trophy and the most beautiful woman in wrestling.
Most beautiful woman.
You got it, Samantha.
Yeah, well, Samantha, congratulations. I guess they're in order for Samantha. She wins the most beautiful award trophy. And the envelope was brought out here by Bill Superstar Dundee. And Dundee says, all these nominees, all these people, Samantha wins. So anyway, Billy Joe Travis going to check on him. He's been pounded on by Randy Hills and the Syndicate. We'll have more on that next week. Thank God for Stacy getting help over there. We're back in next week on the Power Hour. Dave Brown, hopefully back with us then. I'm Corey Maslin. See you then.
We'll throw it right to Adam, and I will ask Adam the question.
Are you overweight?
What was your favorite incident, favorite moment of this particular edition, show number 39 of Power Pro Wrestling? So, man, there's a lot to, I don't know if I could even answer that question.
No, first off, let me get you on the right side of the screen where you belong there, if it'll even let me. There we go. No, so gosh, I mean, for me, I think it's comedic, and usually funny is not money, but I think with Pumpkin and the whole thing with Stasiak going over to Lawler's house, and just the unintended thing with Pumpkin chasing after him, but it's everything that went around that. Brian's reaction to it, then Lawler gets out of the cage and all that stuff, just such good stuff. All surrounding the whole angle. But of course, from a production standpoint, again, you got to remember this was 1999. This wasn't, today where you could live stream something from Facebook Live or whatever. To have the forethought and laying out of them doing like a live shot going over there, that was really cool and just really neat, especially for that time period. I can't think of a time it was ever done before on a wrestling show like that ever.
Yeah, it was a great show. I'd like to hear from the audience what their favorite show was. Now we'll go into the plugs, and then we'll talk about what's coming up next Monday and after for Power Pro Wrestling. But we're going to talk about talking Memphis Wrestling. We'll talk Memphis Wrestling, and we'll do it tomorrow night. Chris Ellis, Michael St. John, Pat Trammell tomorrow night. Talking Memphis Wrestling, second generation Memphis wrestlers, and there's been a ton of them through the years. We'll start with hot stuff. Eddie Gilbert, a young Eddie Gilbert, made his debut in Memphis Wrestling, and we'll take a look we'll switch over to the brand folder of Power Pro Wrestling, and now we will switch over to the Eddie Gilbert picture, and Eddie certainly, young Eddie Gilbert. This was in '78. His first feud was we saw Buddy Wayne earlier, but Ken Wayne was the very first feud of Eddie Gilbert. Then, of course, everybody remembers that Jeff Jarrett, a young Jeff Jarrett, into the territory. And after that, Doug Gilbert shown here with his brother and shown here as well with his dad. This is Doug Gilbert, Eddie Gilbert, and Tommy Gilbert. We'll talk second generation Memphis wrestling stars, and Adam will keep it going. Too Sexy Brian Christopher started in 1990, did a great job. The collector of championship belts. Who else do we have? You can't forget, in 1996, Flex Cavana, better known to the world as the most electrifying man in sports entertainment today. That's Flex Cavana. That's Dwayne Johnson. Absolutely. Here's another guy, the Road Dogg. Before he was the Road Dogg, he was Jesse James Armstrong. A real cool picture. This guy seen here with his dad. And the next picture, you will see Jamie Dundee, JC Ice, with Stone Cold Steve Austin. so many father and son tag teams, so many brother tag teams. And here is a shot of the father, Buddy Fuller, Ron Fuller, and Robert Fuller. And here's another picture of Ron and Robert Fuller together. Second generation wrestlers and a part of the Welch family, part of the Fuller family. Jimmy Golden as well. So we'll talk in Memphis wrestling. We will discuss that and a lot more. That's not it. We will continue the series on maybe last week I titled it the controversial moments. This will be the saddest moments in wrestling. We will cover that as well tomorrow. A big Talking Memphis Wrestling show at 7 o'clock Central Standard Time. Now, next, after that, we'll do the Tuesday show on Wednesday morning at 9 o'clock. It's the Power Hour back on the Ticket Radio Network in EA Sports Talk on 96.9 FM, 95.3 FM, 970 AM, and 953 theticket.com. It is the Power Hour on Jonesboro Radio. Now, to me, real quick, one of the things that is good, and I've said it before. I do that radio show because it gets me out of my comfort zone. It gets me in somebody else's backyard. It gets me doing a radio show weekly for 1 hour from the very first radio station that I ever listened to in my life. However, Bud had to be out this past week, and they asked me to come in and co-host with Randy Myers, and I had the opportunity, and we had that picture. It's football season in Arkansas, and I had 3 special guests from the Valley View High School football team, one of which my nephew Cal and his 2 teammates, 2 buddies, and we have that picture as well. And Carson Winters is on the left in the light blue shirt. That's my nephew, Cal Richardson. There is me. And then Hayden Ross is the third member. And so we previewed the state playoff round 1 football game at home. And this group came out there. And certainly now I should go out there and I should be all right doing interview. I have experience in doing that. It's not my first rodeo. The 3 boys did absolutely fantastic. Just absolutely great. And I appreciate it. It was a fun show. So this coming Wednesday, we'll be there with the Power Hour. And don't forget, you can listen at 953theticket.com. There's the graphic, and it's 9 o'clock Central Standard Time, 953theticket.com for sure. Another thing we will be talking about tomorrow is, and we'll just announce it, it is about time. I wanted to do it a different way. I wanted to do it a bigger way, but it's been done. This graphic looks good. The newest member of the Memphis Wrestling Hall of Fame is Eddie Marlin, my mentor. Without Eddie Marlin, there'd be no Randy Hills in the wrestling business. We'll talk more. Congratulations. Very, very well deserved. Certainly for Eddie Marlin to be in the Hall of Fame, and we will check that out. Next week on Monday on the Power Hour and the following 6 or 7 weeks, Adam will tell you what's coming up. How are we going to follow next week's show? Is there more chaos? Is it expect the unexpected? What do we got next week and beyond? Producer Adam Dunn.
Yeah, so coming up next week will be episode 40, January 16th, 1999. We will finally get the debut of Paul Diamond as Venom. He'll be going against Bulldog Reigns. The Superstar will be going against Shawn Stasiak. Aaron O'Grady will take on Vic Grimes. We'll have a handicap match, Brandon Baxter going against Randy Hales and Tony Falk. We'll see Lance Jade in action against Derrick King. The Young Guns title will be on the line, Baldo versus Derrick King. And we'll have some big stuff going on at Lawler's house. And to Randy's point, Episode 41, we're going to see Rick Morton in action with the Superstar. On episode 42, we'll see Bruce Pritchard make his first appearance on the Power Hour. Episode 43, Jim Cornette, and we have an interview with Michael Hayes. And on episode 44, the WWF talent arrives, and Shawn Stasiak's sister will make an appearance on the show. Episode 45, highlights from Jonesboro. Episode 46, one of my favorites, Mama Stasiak appears. 47, Mama Stasiak has a match against Stacy. We'll see Vic Grimes going against Michael Hayes. Episode 48, clips from For All the Marbles. We'll see Lawler against Baldo. 49, Michael Hayes goes against Baldo. Randy challenges Dave and Corey. And on episode 50, Baldo has a big surprise for Randy Hales and the Syndicate. So lots of big stuff coming up, Randy. We got a lot of Power Hour to come. Like you said, 98 was a hell of a year. 99, it's off to a hot start so far.
Now, Adam, I've pretty much come up with the creative and different stuff. He threw the one thing in with me. He was jealous that I came up with a genius idea last week of putting him on the hot seat. So then today he puts me on the hot seat. Adam likes this to be the hour-long show, hour and 5 for long. But I think our audience stuck with us. I think everybody enjoyed it. And I think the longer we went, 30 minutes plus long, but this was a hell of a show, Adam. Thank you so much.
Oh, yeah, hell of a show. Really enjoyed it, Randy. Thanks for having me.
Tomorrow, yeah, you're welcome all the time. You're welcome on Tuesday night. Everybody show up Tuesday night, then listen to the radio Wednesday, and then next Monday we start it all again with a great Power Hour. He is Adam Dunn. I am Randy Hales. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I and Adam are out. Good night. So long.
Power Pro Wrestling. Power Pro Wrestling. Power Pro Wrestling. The Power Hour.
Living the Dream, Memphis Wrestling, The Randy Hales Story, is available now at randyhalesmemphiswrestling.com.